We call it to order?
Yeah.
Okay, Oscar Flores, I'm the vice chair. Erica Martinez today's not gonna be here with us, so I'm sharing the meeting. I call it facilitation, but I know you guys call it sharing. So you'll hear facilitation, but it's sharing. So I'm calling it to order, and we can do a roll call.
All right, Chairman Martinez is out. Vice Chair Flores,
Here?
Commissioner Cantu,
Present.
Commissioner Garcia is out. Commissioner Hextrom,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Lawson,
Present.
and Commissioner Lorber is absent.
Great.
And we'll go to the statement of conflict of interest.
I haven't heard of any conflicts of interest, and so I think that we can move on.
Great. Next, we'll go to the agenda. Oh, here it comes. Next, we'll go to the agenda review. Are there any changes to the order of the agenda? None? Okay. Do we need to officialize this now?
No, that's
That's good enough?
Mhm. You'll need to vote if you have changes.
Okay. Okay, and then next, we'll go to part 4, which is approval of minutes for April 2nd, 2025. The folks get to read it. Are there any proposed changes to the minutes? I have one. And just for minutes purposes, Commissioner Lorber showed up.
Mark,
So those two.
Set and three.
So on page 7 of the agenda, or it says page 4 of 14, as far as the minutes of last meeting. On my part, it says Vice Chairs Flores suggested building confidence with the CPRC was doing and what it stated it would do, and it was not anti-police or anti-police misconduct. I actually said it was anti-police misconduct.
So tell me again what page?
Page 4 of 14.
Page 4 of 14, and let's see, your comments are,
Right before public comments at the bottom.
oh yeah, suggested building confidence with the
It was,
CPRC.
it was, because there was a conversation around, it seems like we're anti-police, and I said, no, we're not anti-police, but we are anti-police misconduct.
Oh, R,
And it says or.
I got it, R, anti-policeman, got it, thank you.
And that's it on my end. So do we need to vote on those changes?
We should.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
go
think
with-
somebody makes a motion to to approve it with that, change.
Yes, thank
so
you.
moved.
Second.
I believe we have to do roll call since
Yeah,
Commissioner Hextrom's online. Chairman Martinez is absent. Vice Chair Flores,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantu,
yes.
Commissioner Hextrom,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Lawson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Lorber.
Yes.
That is 6 in favor, passes unanimously.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other changes? No? No? Okay. So the next thing we'll go to is public forum.
Well, let's start public forum, Cordero Himbler.
Is it 3 minutes or 2?
It's 2.
So, yeah, let me see.
And go.
Okay, so good evening, Vice Chair Flores, Commissioners. I am Cordell Himmler, and I have some wonderful news to share with you all. So, 2 things. As far as the update goes, I did talk to the Youth Council at their last meeting, and I encouraged them to fill the last vacancy to join this group. So, it's still pending. So, I will be talking with them later this month. Second is, you are all invited to the Contra Costa Mayor's Conference on June 5th, hosted by the city of San Ramon, and our speaker for that meeting will be Kristen Connolly, who will be talking to us about the election process for next year, 2026. And it's only $70, but you still have to RSVP, and there will be some food there too. And let's see, what else? I am putting a request that the commission should have the closed session an hour before the meeting, because just like how city council does theirs at 3:30, I was thinking that y'all can start doing that at around 6 p.m. So that in the future, because having it like at the bottom of the agenda has not been beneficial for everyone. So that's just food for thought, and I will save my comments for when we get down to the new business item.
If we could let the minutes just reflect that Commissioner Garcia here at 7:06.
Okay, our next speaker is Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to make some comments regarding yesterday. I participated in the city council meeting, and I was a little shocked to hear that the city has not made any progress on what our former investigator stated as part of his resignation. I really encourage the commission to get behind making sure that we are complying with all ethical and legal requirements in the commission, because it really could put in jeopardy everything that we're doing here. And so I want to encourage everyone to support a review of what was stated by our former investigator. I also, during the meeting, some conflicts of interest within the commission were raised. I looked at the Form 700s for all of the commissioners, and I was surprised to see that the main employer for 2 commissioners appears to be Reimagining Richmond. That is a pretty big conflict of interest that 2 commissioners, including Commissioner Cantu, that their main source of income, and it appears to me that they're both paid to be here, which to me should look into. And I actually intend to have the city look into that to make sure that this doesn't jeopardize our work here. If it's fine, but it just seems odd to me that Reimagining Richmond is paying people to be here. I'm not getting paid. Per the Form 700, it doesn't appear anyone else is getting paid. And so this is very disturbing and should be looked into. Thank you.
Okay, no more comments in the room. We'll be going online. The next speaker is Lisa Johnson.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm speaking to put on the public record a Brown Act violation that occurred during your March 5th meeting, specifically Council Floy Andrews unlawfully disallowing public comment on the agendized item titled Report by Chief of Police. Cordell Hendra asked to speak after the chief's report, and Council Andrews disallowed his request to provide public comment. Commissioner Garcia said, "No, I thought for each item there's public comments." Council Andrews stated, "For each action item, there's public comment before the commission takes action, but there isn't necessarily public comment before each speaker addresses the commission." Quote, "This is in clear violation of the Brown Act, which guarantees public comment on agendized items. There is nothing in the March 5th agenda or public comment instructions that indicates comment would not be allowed on that item. In fact, placing the police chief's report after public forum made it impossible for the public to comment meaningfully on its content. Additionally, the written instructions on page 3 of the agenda packet reference a submission deadline of January 15th. Nearly 2 months before the actual meeting date. Further, the meeting minutes omit any record of the public comment denial. This compounds the violation and erases public dissent from the official record. City Council agendas, by contrast, clearly permit public comment after reports from the city manager. I respectfully urge the commission to follow that precedent and to instruct the city attorney's office to cure the Brown Act violation on March 5th by correcting the minutes, reaffirming the public's right to comment on all agenda items, repeating the agenda item and allowing public comment, and ensuring these restrictions are not repeated going forward. Thank you for your service and consideration."
Our next public speaker online is Benjamin Terrio. You have 2 minutes.
Ben Terrio, president of the Richmond Police Officers Association. I'd like to acknowledge that the my Brown Act violation emails, letters have been acknowledged. I'd like to also know what the cure is going to be for that. I'd like to see that in writing since the Brown Act violations have been acknowledged. I would appreciate that. And then lastly, I'll say that be continuing to speak in public forums on this and then other agenda items that come up. I think it's important for folks to know who are involved in whether you're on the commission, whether you're part of the frequent flyer folks who attend the commission, that my ability to speak on these matters is a matter of a labor union right and matter of public concern, which I'm allowed to speak on. I think there seems to be some discord on, what I'm allowed to do as a police officer. And there'll be more to come on that later, but I just wanted to put that out there for folks. Thank you.
There are no other speakers.
Great. So move forward to the next agenda item, which is the police chief's report. We have an email from Disa French, the chief of police, that she is unable to attend the meeting and regretfully unable to attend the meeting. And also, there's no one to stand in for her. She says that she will make sure to provide information during the June meeting. But she also mentioned that if she would like it sooner than that, she can provide a written report. And I don't know if it's a motion that I'll be making, but at least my comment would be around that, would be that we could wait till next month for that comprehensive report to come to us. And yeah.
Yeah, very good. I don't think we need a motion. Thank you.
Okay. So it's a motion.
Okay. Vice Chair Flores.
Oh, no, I said
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think we need a motion.
Oh, you don't?
You don't
I'm
need a
sorry.
motion.
I misheard you.
Yeah.
And then next for the police chief, we'll have public comment.
No public comment.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is old business, part 7. We'll start with 7A.
So I'll give a report on that. We don't have much of a report there. This is the meet and confer process, and it seems to go on and on. Since we are bringing the commission's recommendations over the past few months to the city council, and eventually some of them will go through a meet and confer process, it makes sense, I think, to consolidate them all in that process. Because, making phone calls to the negotiator doesn't really seem to be moving us forward. So that's the status on A. And then the status on B is the interim,
Sharon Taylor from the Human Resources Department is going to make a short presentation.
great,
Can I ask a question about A before we move on to B?
absolutely.
So we said it calls to the negotiator. Are you referring to like the city management negotiator or the union negotiator?
Well, calling into the city's negotiator, we kind of sort of hear what's going on, but then it doesn't feel like the ball is moving forward. So I think that we need more of a backing from the city council to have that moving forward, and we're going to the city council with our other list of items, and so I think if we pull them all together, we're gonna have a much better chance of having a real dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Would it be appropriate, not for today's meeting because it's not on the agenda, but like for a future meeting? Because I'd like to get advice from our council about the best way that we could move this forward.
Mhm.
And so could we put that on the agenda for a closed session at our next meeting?
And you mean to move the items from last year forward, or all of the items forward?
Well, I mean, specifically the ones from last year, but like now we're gonna have new items. But so I think that I think it would be helpful. It would be helpful.
I hate to interrupt,
Oh.
this thing's down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so should we stop or pause for a minute?
We do,
Yeah.
we're ready to pause the meeting.
Alright.
That's odd.
Are we back?
We are back online. We are recording.
Okay, so,
Everything looks good. Sorry.
so we have a pause at 7:16 and it's 7:17 now. You can re-engage.
Okay, yeah, just, so my point was that I feel like at least could benefit from some legal advice about what our
What you
alternatives
could do
could be and
next.
what we could recommend to the city council, what actions they could take. And so, but
We
I
can do
understand-
that.
Yeah, during
Yeah,
closed session.
that
Not
sounds
today,
fine.
but at a future meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got that noted.
Any other comments or questions?
Not on A, so should we have public comment on A? Any public comment on A? Okay, we'll go to B. The interim investigator hiring. And we have Sharon here with us.
Okay. All right, Sharon, thank you.
I'm not sure if you hear me.
We can, but lightly.
Okay, I believe I'm still. I'm not able, hold on. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Thanks for-
can't turn on my camera. Normally I would prefer that, but I don't have that option here, so I will speak. Nor can I see anyone. But either way, good evening, Commission. Sharon Taylor, Human Resources Director. I was asked to come to the meeting today to give you an update on the hire of the contractor investigator who will be assisting the commission while we do the search for the permanent appointment. So currently we have, with the wonderful assistance of the ad hoc committee, identified an investigator to take care of the backlog that you currently have of cases. And we are going through the contract review period. So I have drafted the contract for his review. He has reviewed the contract and given us some feedback, and I'm working with our city attorney's office to review the contract and to come to an agreement with the final terms. So I hope that the process won't take too much longer. I know that you've been very patient as we work through the process of getting an investigator on board for you, but we are actively working on getting the contract in place. I will need to take it to City Council for approval, so that will be the next step after we come to agreement on the terms, and I hope to do that before the end of this month if possible.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
I don't know if she's going to speak on item C. If not, she can.
Yeah, that would be great if she
Okay.
would. But first,
Sure.
let's see if we have any questions about,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
no,
I have a question.
yes.
So, my question is, what about the permanent investigator? I know that they had come up, the buyers group had come up with a recruiting flyer or whatever you call it. Has that been released to the public yet? And do you know if they've started getting any applicants?
So the buyers group,
Can I just interrupt for 1 minute?
okay.
Commissioner, that's the next item under old business. So let's just quickly finish with the interim and then we can go to the permanent investigator questions if that's all right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
But
Anybody-
first, we should go to, I'm sorry, is there any other questions or comments?
Do you have any
Public-
public
public-
comment? Wait,
Oh, we got
Sorry,
some.
I just had
Yes.
a question.
oh, sorry.
Thanks, Sharon Marisol speaking. I just wanted to ask how long the contract will be for, and do you anticipate any duplication of the role of the interim and then the permanent, like any overlap?
If I'm not mistaken, and I don't have the contract in front of me, I believe it is for a full year. So depending on the date that it is approved by council, it will immediately start, and it will be for 12 months. I do not think that it will take 12 months for us to find an investigator once we open the recruitment, which I will speak on the next item. But I do believe that there will be some overlap. I do expect the contract investigator to transition the new investigator into the role, give him or her an update on the cases that they are working on, pretty much show them the protocol and whatever guidelines that he or she has established with the commission as to how those cases should be handled. So we're hoping for a smooth transition, and so there will be some degree of overlap.
Thank you.
Just as an FYI, it took over 2 years to hire Jerry when he hired on. So I wouldn't rely too much on it taking, that you'd be able to hire someone within a year. I would look into having language in there if you can on being able to extend it if there is a need for that. Just based on prior experience, the city, because this is a position hired directly by the city council, for whatever reason, that causes it to have to go through more steps. And so that added bureaucracy caused it to take forever last time to hire a permanent investigator. I think like 2.5 years it took.
I can certainly add additional time to the contract or add it an option to extend it a year.
Yeah, that would be great.
Any other comments?
We're going to take this to the public. The first speaker is Cordell Hindler.
Thank you. So good evening again, Vice Chair Flores, Commissioners. Thank you, Sharon, for this update. And Commissioner Cantu just took the question I was going to bring up. Do you know when the person will be coming on board at because I was thinking like 12 months seems a bit odd, and I'm thinking like if we can extend it out a little further, that would be helpful. So, and I will save my comments for the next item.
Any other comments?
I think we have a hand online.
Yeah.
No, you're sitting as well. Come on. Okay, the next speaker is Lisa Johnson online. Lisa, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. I was just curious if the commission or HR could address for the public and for the commission at what point the investigators will be made aware of Jerry Threet's concerns that he addressed in his resignation letter, as well as other ongoing public concerns regarding various conflicts of interest that have been communicated to the city attorney's office. Thank you.
There are no further comments at this time.
Great. We'll move on to C.
Now we're at the permanent investigator conversation.
Sharon, do you have anything to add to the update for the permanent investigator hiring?
I do. I would like to answer Commissioner Hegstrom's question. The buyers group have the edits from the ad hoc committee and are still in the process of drafting. We still need to do some review with leadership on the final draft. And so we will be sending the final draft to the ad hoc committee hopefully in the next week or so. I know the process has been lengthy, but there are a lot of pieces and moving parts to this process, and we want to ensure that we get it right, for lack of a better word. So again, thank you to the commission's patience as we work through the process. It is unusual to have an ad hoc committee and a city council to report to when doing a recruitment, but we're doing our best to manage that. And with the help of the buyers group, who has had experience with filling similar positions, they filled the position in Berkeley. They do have the expertise and are guiding the process. So we can certainly set up a time for them to come to the commission to give an update, but I can assure you that the process is rolling, and I hope to have something to you very soon.
Thank you.
Ms. Cantu?
Thank you, Sharon Marisol Cantu again. I just wanted to know if there's a plan for the continuation of the ad hoc to work with you on the permanent investigator recruitment. I know that they've done some edits, but are they planning, or are you extending an invite for them to be on the hiring panel or reviewing any of the applications?
the city council will ultimately be the hiring authority for this position, but it is my understanding that they will want to include commissioners on at least the first round of interviews, but we are still working out those details.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
Going back to the public speaker's question, what is the plan on how to address why the position is vacant? Because they're going to find out. So how is that going to be managed?
So the investigator reports to the city council and they will oversee the dissemination of information. I do not have an answer for you at this time regarding how that information will be conveyed.
All right, so it'll be the city council, it sounds like.
Any other comments or questions from the commission?
All right, we'll take this to public comments. First speaker is Cordell Himmler.
So this must be my lucky day. So good evening again, Vice Chair Flores, commissioners. Thank you again, Sharon, for this update. And because one of the things that if I remember correctly, when the buyers group came last time to fill this recruitment, so do you know how many applications are going to be coming in, and hopefully will the new person be coming on board at some point? So I'll just leave it at that for food for thought.
Next speaker is online, Lisa Johnson. You have 2 minutes.
Oh, I think my hand was still just raised. I have no comment right now.
No comment. Okay, thank you. There are no further comments.
Great, we move on to D.
D.
Should we let Sharon go?
I think so, yeah.
Sharon, thank you very much for presenting on those 2 items. We don't
Welcome to stay.
You're welcome to stay, but you can go home too.
Well, thank you for having me. Have a great evening. Please feel free to reach out to me directly if anyone has any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item, a lot sort of has happened in this area, which is after the commission over 4 months voted to increase the scope and procedures for this commission. The idea was we would compile them all together and come up with a mechanism to bring it to city council so that city council could review it and move the items forward and eventually move whichever ones need to go through meet and confer, and whichever ones can be brought into the city's code, do that right away and begin to move forward. And so this past month we prepared a table of items that were included in all of the different meetings that you all voted on, and we sorted them by topic, and we sent this around. I think that Marcel Cantu had an opportunity to review it, and there was one item that we realized was dropped off. One of the items is expand jurisdiction to automatically review broader scope use of force review broader use of force actions. And we had listed there everything that was in the minutes and everything that was in the item, but it was missing one thing that had been brought up during the debate and was clearly included in the motion, and so the minutes were wrong. And so I do think we need to go back and amend those minutes, and that amendment, I think, a request should come from the commission to make that happen. And we have now included that on this list. Out of that came a request that we listen to all the meetings and see if there are any other updates, any mistakes in the minutes. And so we've already gone through and approved all the minutes. And so I would request that the commission divvy up those meetings to listen to the motions that were made live and compare them to the minutes. And if there's any discrepancies, bring that forward so that we can update the minutes and then update the table of things we're asking. And I say that also, I will indicate that I remember when the commission was looking at this item, the use of force actions, and I remember there being a change at the time to the request that wasn't in the staff report. And then I just sort of kind of forgot about it. And then when, and I think I remember actually looking to see if the minutes matched what my associate was saying, and they did, and so I assumed it was right. So, but that's the only one I had that sneaking worry about. So there's, I have a feeling that we can go through this effort and we're probably not going to find any discrepancies.
Which one was that specifically? Was it the automatic trigger?
It was the batons.
Yeah, okay, for the automatic trigger batons.
Yes.
So as a quick update, I went through 10 of the different videos
Oh, good.
already, and well, this triggered it because I saw that there was a very glaring issue that wasn't caught for our minutes. So I went through, they're not all done, but I can send.
Are you finding more?
Sure. No, the one that I was most concerned about was the shift in our last minutes with Commissioner Lorber changing it from increasing to ensuring public confidence, ensuring public and that was in the minutes. So I was waiting for these minutes because there's more in this. Right.
Okay.
So I do need to just go back to our very last one, and I was waiting for the minutes.
Perfect.
So the last, I think there was like 3 or 4 from this last meeting that just need to be reviewed.
So we're eventually going to have a stack of minutes to reapprove. Or amend.
Hopefully just one,
Just
just the baton, and possibly another based on these last minutes.
Okay, perfect. Good. So that's
Sorry, which agenda item are we talking about?
we're talking about update on bringing the additional proposed revisions to chapter 3.54, and the additional proposed revisions all came out of these meetings, and we're talking about making sure that we have an accurate representation of what was passed on this table that I've prepared. And so now we're getting there. And this table, I think, has been brought, or at least the city attorney has been working with this table, and I think that he had presented to the city council last night to create an ad hoc committee of members of the city council and at least 1, maybe 2 members of this commission, and maybe others. I'm not exactly sure what that ad hoc would have looked like, but then that ad hoc would have done the first pass, kind of on behalf of the city council, to review each of the items that this commission is suggesting be changed. And unfortunately, last night that ad hoc committee was voted down. I think we had a full council except Councilwoman Robinson was unavailable. I think her father died is what I heard. And so that was voted down. And so it seems like the next process will be to bring all of these to the city council. So, yes.
So before, when I had spoke to Dave Alshire in reviewing and making sure they were all legally adequate and so forth, he had suggested moving them as a slate and grouping them, which it seems like he's continuing to do, some on transparency, some on accountability, some on scope, which is super helpful. I think my suggestion in how I've seen it done on other commissions is that the commissioners that presented these proposals to the commission would be the ones that made a presentation with the help of the city council liaison to help us be agendized. And then we would be the presenters, and we would be able to answer questions as we were the ones that researched, prepared, and help move these forward. And so that's a suggestion that I think could be really helpful, since it's really exciting that every single one of our council members wants to read all 13 of these recommendations. So we are indebted to them and want to educate them as quickly as possible. So yeah, I would hope, and it's unfortunate that Councilmember Jimenez isn't here, so she could help move this along. but as a liaison, she can help agendize this as soon as possible.
Right, so that is,
Actually, Carol has
oh,
a
perfect.
question.
Hi. So it sounds to me like some of the commission has been getting the list of all of ours, but I certainly haven't seen that list of all of the things that we want to bring to the city council. And I do want to thank Marisol for going through all of the meetings to find that. That's a lot. So I appreciate your work doing that. And I also like her idea that we have the person that brought the item forward should be the one to present to the city council, or at least work on the language of the agenda report, because I believe that it's actually City Councilwoman Jimenez that brings the item forward.
Thank you. First, let me just.
Work on, help prepare the agenda reports, because if you wait for everybody else to prepare those agenda reports, they're not going to get done. So that's my feeling about it. You want it to get done, you got to do it yourself and give it to them in a pretty much done state. So that's my suggestion.
So just to clarify, who put together this list?
I did, as legal counsel, put it together, and I haven't shared it with the commission because I was working on it with Dave. And so Dave has the list, and in fact, I debated, do I bring it, don't I bring it? I feel like I need to run that question past Dave before I distribute it to the group. But it's basically a list that I pulled from all of the minutes of all the items that this commission passed.
So did Commissioner Cantu get a copy of it?
I assumed that she did because the list did not say batons, and she brought up that it needed to say batons. But I am only making the assumption that she looked at the list. It just may be that she spoke with the city attorney about the list. I don't actually know.
Can I clarify for the record, because you're asking a question about me, so you should ask it to me?
I'm speaking to our city attorney, so.
And she just answered you, so
so
I'm in line.
Can I ask that commissioners speak to each other with respect?
No,
And-
absolutely.
excuse me, and direct any comments from individual to the chair only.
Okay, point well taken, thank you.
Thank you for that. Please go ahead.
So Commissioner Cantu?
Thank you. So for the record, I never received a list, but because I have put probably my name and work of 8 of these recommendations, I can't remember how, I have been reviewing all of the minutes for all of them in an email, and you can PRA this, which I'm sure many people will love to do. I sent both our chair and vice chair a follow-up email along with the city attorney asking what are the next steps for the process, and they said they were reviewing all of the minutes and creating a list. And that's when I went back and said, smart, review all of the minutes to make sure they were correct. And I pulled that directly online from every single council meeting that is publicly available. That is when, and I watched the videos with my own time, not paid, to make sure that I was able to look at the minutes. That's when I found the baton suggestion by Ben Terrio, and that Dan Lawson said we should also include that, and so we amended the original motion to include baton. But in the minutes, it was missing. And that's the one that I brought up.
So that clarifies that nobody has seen this list that I, the lawyer, prepared at the direction of the city attorney. I do think that there will come a time when it's like, oh, this list is something we should all have, but I haven't cleared that yet, which is why I haven't distributed it yet. Yes.
Yeah, is it, I guess I'm not aware of us, it being customary to discuss with the city attorney directly CPRC business. Is that, are we all allowed to do, are we all capable of doing that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can, absolutely. If you can get him on the phone, you can do it.
Okay, no, that's awesome, and to plan out in advance, you know, things that the commission's gonna do. I personally prefer to have those discussions here first before planning out anything in advance for the commission.
Well, it's not really for the commission, it's for the council.
For the council, on behalf of the commission.
And he's the attorney for the council.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it's CPRC business, and so.
And I'm the lawyer for the CPRC.
Yeah, and so I
And I
thought we
connect
were
with
supposed to go
Dave.
through you, and so this is new to me.
I'm here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. Yeah. I would have thought to only go through you, that's why.
Yeah, no, you can definitely, you know, try to get a hold of Dave. I think, you know, Mr. Alshire, I'm sure, you know, anybody in the public can, you know, reach out to the city attorney.
Yeah, no, and so while I appreciate, you know, folks trying to simplify things, I think just the same way the city council stated yesterday, I think I'm smart enough and sharp enough to figure things out on my own and would like to be able to weigh in if given the opportunity versus given something that someone else has pre-digested for me.
Weigh in on what?
Both the process in which this is going to be looked at, you know, we're going to propose this to the city council, and also the content of what is going to be proposed to the city council. Like my preference is, as much as possible, I would like to be able to weigh in. I don't need to weigh in on every single word, but it just seems like we're being given something that's been pre-digested, and I'm a little concerned by that.
Well, there'll be a time when we can distribute it, and then you know, you'll certainly be able to comment on the language, which comes straight out of
Yep.
the minutes of the motion.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. So the content has not changed from what was voted on and approved at the previous CPRC meetings, is my understanding. Is that correct?
That's
we're
correct.
just, like, there's some corrections that have to be made to make sure that they're actually, the written record reflects what we voted on.
Correct.
But what we were all here and we were all present and we all have access to the Zoom recordings and the minutes. Okay.
And once I sort of get, you know, authority to share the list, I'm happy to do so, and then you can, dive into it.
But that
And that should happen
list will just be a
before.
compilation of things that we all, like, that were public.
Yeah, they're all actually part of all those papers already.
That's right.
Exactly.
Commissioner Hicks?
Yeah, so the problem is when we approve these things, we did not write the legal language. So the legal language of the changes that we want for the charter has to be written. And we voted on sort of big ideas, but the actual language is the part where that has to get done. And I don't know if we want to try to have us, and the city council may change the language from, so what we present, I think that somebody needs to start writing that language. And I'm thinking maybe that the people who, if they can, the people who brought the item forward can work with the city attorney to get the language. The people who presented the agenda item can work with the city attorney to make sure that the language is correct, that reflects what we voted on.
Certainly the city attorney's office.
I meant you.
the-
I didn't mean the city attorney. I meant you.
Understood, that I'm part of, will be writing the final ordinance changes.
And also writing the specific requests, if you will, or changes to procedures. And obviously the commission will be able to review that, but I think that that final language will be at the discretion of the attorney. And the language that's already in this table that I've created comes straight out of the agenda reports. And from my perspective, it's pretty good. It's pretty accurate and readable, and describes what at least I think is being requested pretty well. But eventually, it doesn't make sense to draft up the new ordinance language until we know that the city council has agreed that we should move in that direction. Because that is an intricate process that takes time, and, you know, you don't want to waste time writing up stuff that doesn't wind up in the ordinance.
So we take it to the city council, they say, yeah, we like this change, go ahead and write the legal language, and then you do it, and then it goes back to the city council, and then they approve the legal language, and then they have to come back in 2 months and do it again before it finally goes into law. Am I correct on that?
Basically, that's correct. Basically,
Okay.
that's correct.
So it's gonna be like a year before any of these changes happen,
Well,
or
don't
more,
forget, there's meet and confer process. on
right?
some
Oh,
of
yeah, and that could take even more time. Good point.
I think the city attorney said 2 years is his estimate. He said that yesterday.
So it's good to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we have a plan, and the plan is that, Floyd, you work with Councilmember Jimenez to make the agenda reports, or who's going to do that? Because I think she needs a little prompting from somebody on the commission or associated with the commission.
I actually think that City Attorney Alshire will be working directly with Councilmember Jimenez, and then he'll be directing me if he wants me to draft things up, but ultimately it would come from him to her.
Okay, so that's where it is right now. That's where it's holding.
And I did hear that that this commission would like to have the members of the commission who were involved in the original drafting and research, you know, participate in the presentation to council.
Is that a suggestion, or is that what's gonna happen?
I think it's a suggestion, and I don't think it's really something we need to vote on. I think it's a good suggestion.
And then the other item that I think that's still up in the air is with the minutes being checked, is that Commissioner Cantu is still gonna move forward and look at the rest, finalize that?
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, gratitude.
So just so I understand the timeline, it's actually is it next Tuesday when this, or when is this stuff being considered by the city council?
So the agendizing for city council meetings is this whole process.
I see.
I don't participate in that. I know that City Attorney Alshire does. And, you know, it has everything to do with how many items can the city council hear in a week, so it's a process as well.
Okay. Just if we're going to be presenters, I don't know when
Right,
when
yeah.
I might be called upon to do that.
You'll know in advance, and also because anything that goes on the agenda has a lot of internal review, any part that we play, we will play likely a month before it actually shows up on an agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
So just so that I'm clear, the list that you put together, Floyd, is going to be presented to the city council and then broken up among the folks in the commission who came up with those recommendations, and then those individuals, those commissioners are going to present those items to the city council. Did I understand that correctly?
I think that you're understanding my expectation and or my recommendation.
Recommendation,
to
yeah.
the city attorney, exactly.
Okay.
And it will really be at the discretion of the city attorney and the city manager, actually, because they manage those meetings.
But it would ultimately though be city council who could say, we want to hear these together, and so bring whoever recommended these to this meeting. Is that like?
Certainly the city council interfaces with both of those two executives, and I think together they figure out what the process is, and our advice will be to that group of people will be the advice that you just described.
Okay. All right.
And is that during a closed session or open?
I think it would be an open session, yeah. And I expect that the council would debate, possibly vigorously, on the various items and then eventually vote on them.
Is that it for as far as questions or comments in this item?
I think we do.
I'm sorry?
I was gonna say public comment.
Yeah.
No, I'm all over public comment now.
Anybody for public comment?
There doesn't appear to be any public comments. Anybody online want to raise their hands? Going once?
There's one hand up, but I don't know if that's still the old hand from before.
Let's see.
Or I thought I saw a hand, maybe I. Oh, no, that's just a mute. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There are no public comments at this time.
Great. So that's it for old business. We'll move on to new business.
Okay, new business. This new business I brought forward, and this actually goes to the public comment scenario. I sense that the commission is interested in efficiency. Tonight we have a light agenda, but I foresee there will be times when the agendas are quite heavy, and efficiency is good. On the other hand, transparency and hearing from the community and having robust public comment is also good, and those tend to sort of like balance and or be opposing forces in a commission meeting. And so I just wanted to offer up that there are two different ways for a public body to take public comment. And one legitimate way under the Brown Act is to have an open forum session at some point in the meeting where the public is able to come in and speak about anything not on the agenda that is within the purview of the commission and anything on the agenda, so that you have one public comment period and everything is addressed during that public comment period, and then you move to the next item. That's one way to do it. That's not how we are currently operating. The other way to do it is to have, usually at the top of the meeting, public comment on anything not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the entity, and then have public comment on each item on the agenda. And then you have public comment happening throughout the meeting, and generally you have more public comment that way, which provides more transparency, it seems like, and interface with the community, but also undermines meeting efficiency. And so I just am offering that up for you all to think about and talk about and consider.
So I have a comment.
Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you. We previously wanted people to be able to make comments to the chief of police, the people that attend the meeting. And so in a previous meeting, I think I was still chair, we decided that we would have public comment after the chief of police spoke and after the commission had had a chance to ask her questions, but that then she would be able to respond to any comments from the public if she so chose. That was, I think, the agreement that we had. And I like that because I think that we want the community to have a voice. This is a chance when they do have a chance to actually say something to the police chief. And I think especially if we're going to be voting on a particular item, it's maybe nice to have those comments focused there. But I mean, if we get repeat commenters over and over on every single item, it does push the meeting later. And I do understand that concern, but I still think that at least, well, I don't know. Go ahead.
I didn't understand, like it didn't say in the agenda item why we're talking about this, but then I heard the public speakers earlier around a Brown Act violation. Are they connected?
This is really coming out of the idea of efficiency. We do have allegations of a Brown Act violation, and maybe we made a mistake, but now I'm talking about various options for public comment.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't understand what we were talking about today, and then
I decided to put it on the agenda, which is my prerogative.
Okay.
Commissioner Robert?
Yeah, so just so I'm clear, the agenda is released to the public in advance of meetings that does include agendized new business action items. So it's not like the public does not know until we're discussing the action items. They would read it in advance potentially and then be able to give those comments during that initial public forum. Am I understanding that right?
Correct.
Okay. And how far in advance of the meeting does the public get the agenda with those items?
72 hours is the requirement. Generally, I think we're doing a couple days earlier than that, but it's hard to commit to doing a couple days earlier than that.
Okay.
Commissioner Garcia?
I'm sorry, were you done?
Sorry.
No, that was it.
Please go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, no problem. Please go ahead.
So,
Oh, sorry, just a quick question, Carol. Is there an example within the city of anyone doing kind of that front loading of comments? That's totally new to me, so I'm just wondering if there's any good examples of that.
I don't know of any, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of bodies within the city, and I don't know how they all conduct their business. The city council follows the second of the two
Yeah, that's,
organizational structures.
and I've been to multiple, like 5 or 6 different commissions, and when they do meet, not all of them meet regularly, they seem to follow this format that we've been following, so, yeah, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hagstrom?
so my comment is in regards to what Rachel said, and that is that if part of the point of having the public comment after the item has been presented is that sometimes, and also the commission has had a chance to ask some questions, is there can be more information that comes out than what is written on the agenda that may make the public comments more meaningful, or for whatever reason that they wouldn't have been making until they had that other information. So that's why it's good for the public to be able to hear the item before they have to make their comment on it. So, and I also am concerned that it may be a Brown Act violation to not allow the public comments, and I've heard different things. So I don't know about that. Maybe we can look into that, or I mean, before we decide to cut out all public comment except for one public comment, I think we should make sure that that would be okay to do.
Well, we have looked into it, and this has also been the advice of the city attorney.
So Commissioner Lorbert and
I just wanted to say one other thing, which is that I think that there's it's been put as, I guess, a sort of tension or binary of transparency versus efficiency, but I would also say I think it may increase the public forum transparency aspect to have agendized items be discussed in the initial portion, because our meetings go so late that some people don't want to wait till 10 o'clock for a new business agenda item. And I actually think in a way this could help the public comment more, because I've seen city council meetings in actually multiple cities, and they go so long that sometimes if you wait the whole meeting, and some people might drop off or not get to their public comment by the time they finally get there toward the end of the meeting. So I want to say I don't really know that I like the idea of the tension is, voting for this means less transparency, because I actually think there's a good argument it increases transparency and public comment.
Yeah,
Commissioner Lawson.
but that's an excellent point. Like efficiency actually increases access that people have to the meeting. Just like, and I just wanted to point out that like we don't need to reach out and do any further research about whether or not the legal opinion is that this is or is not in following the Brown Act, because we're getting this. That's what we're receiving right now is our legal opinion from our attorney saying that these are two options that both satisfy the Brown Act, and so we should decide between them based on their merits and not based on our unexpert opinion about the Brown Act.
Commissioner Garcia, did you speak?
I'm just concerned about someone who would like to speak on something that's said throughout the meeting. I know that I attend a lot of public meetings, and people do take the time to attend meetings, and they will be pissed if they don't get to share their point, or disappointed, I should say, if they don't get to make their point on something they hear in the meeting. I personally think a well-established democracy is to sit there and give everyone an opportunity to weigh in. I realize the Brown Act provides some options, but it just concerns me that someone could be late to the meeting and then they miss their one opportunity to make a comment, and or they hear something in the meeting that they would like to comment on and then have no way of making that comment. People have a lot going on and they are often late to meetings, and I was late today. Would my opportunity to weigh in go away? So I think we need to be flexible to the public and give them as many opportunities to weigh in.
I'd like to speak. I think that for me, what I'm trying to wrestle with is this. So there could be a version of the old business and we go through A through D, and then the public comments could be made there. But if there's voting that we're going to do, I think it would be important for us to hear from the public, because I think sometimes I hear from the public things that, excuse my decision in a certain way, that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to have a hard time wrestling with, is that opportunity for folks to comment that could sway us in a certain way, or just give us a different, better perspective. And so then that means that we would go per item. Talk about it, have discussion as commissioners, and then go to the public. And then if it's going to be a voting situation, then we go through that. Commissioner Cantu?
Thank you, Chair. Question for City Attorney. The Brown Act and the discussion, I need clarity on the last sentence. It permits public comment to be heard throughout the meeting with comments on items not on the agenda, which essentially is public forum, open forum.
At the beginning of
At the beginning. And then additional comments for each agenda item, but it doesn't clarify voting agenda items versus reporting agenda items. And that's what I wanted to get clarity on. Just like a staff report or approval of the minutes or agenda review, these administrative or a report, staff report, and even at the end of our item, it says reports from commissioner, staffs, and ride-alongs, etc. Are those considered additional items, and is there a difference for these reports versus voting?
Based upon my interaction with the city attorney, it's items on the agenda.
Okay, got it.
Items on the agenda is something that you get to do public comment on if you do the latter version.
Okay, got it.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah.
Commissioner.
I'm just wondering, maybe I missed it or whatever, but what brought up this now? What happened?
So we had a meeting.
Okay. Had a meeting?
When? I forget which meeting it was. There was a meeting, and to me, it felt like the meetings were, we needed to increase efficiency, and it didn't make sense to me to have public comment after the chief of police's offering. And I said, we only need to have public comment on items that we vote on.
So people have a problem with that?
People have a problem with that, and I don't think it's true. I don't think that actually is what the Brown Act says. And so that's why, now we really need to look at this. We have to have public comment on every item, or we can have a one all-inclusive comment period at the beginning of the meeting.
Commissioner Robert?
So my question is, can we vote to change it so that the public forum at the beginning includes, it sounds like in compliance with the Brown Act, both agendized and non-agendized items, and then as just standard operating procedure, not whether or not it complies with the Brown Act, because we've already dealt with that, say as a commission we will also allow public comment for only items we are then voting on, which has nothing to do with the Brown Act. It's just something we're going to opt to do. So that, because I agree, I would like to hear, especially because people add things, we change language around. Could we do that, or is that too confusing? And then that seems like we're not complying. Does that question make sense?
That question makes sense to me, and I want to come back with an answer, but to me, it makes good sense, yeah. But I want to come back with an answer
Like come back
at another time. I need to look into it.
Right.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, even in reviewing ours, I wonder if, as nothing regarding the Brown Act, but as a standard operating procedure that maybe you can discuss with the chair, is that we move the report by the chief of police before public comment and revert, so that then people are able to hear that report and they can comment during public comment. But I don't know if that's, or regardless, the report has to have public comment separate.
So I think that you can have an item come up before open session. I feel like you can have that open session. I don't believe it has to be at the top of the meeting, but I should confirm that. If it does, then it would have to come before the chief speaks. But if it can come anytime throughout the meeting, the chief could be the top item and then have this open forum concept. And in the open forum could be anything on the agenda, off the agenda, as long as within the purview of the commission. And then we would have the question of, and then can you also have public comment periods just for the voting items? So what I want to do, this is, I'm glad we didn't make this a voting item. This is sort of what some councils call a study session, where we're kind of like drilling down on what would make good sense potentially. Then I can go back, research it, come back with a specific item, and then we can potentially vote on that. But I want to make sure, well, I guess you'll make sure if people are done with this item, done talking about the item. Yeah, sorry.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Hector.
We did have at one point, because we wanted people to be able to comment before the chief of police, after the chief of police. But anyway, I still think that I like the idea of commenting after she speaks, and then and after the people ask the commission asks her questions, then having the public comment, but then allowing her to answer if she so chooses. And that was what we had decided at one point. So, because if they just are, I mean, it's okay if they comment before after she speaks, but it's not the same as her being able to get an answer from her if she wants to do that. So I don't know. Are you going to come back with a set proposal, or you're just going to explore the different options and come back with some options for us to choose from? I don't quite understand what's going to happen next.
I think the next is I'm going to do some research and talk to people, and then I'll have a sense about, what we can and can't do. But I kind of like the idea of coming back with a couple options. And I think we've heard one option articulated, which doesn't necessarily provide that space for the chief of police to respond, because she will have already reported.
Can I get clarity? And then I see you, Jackson. Can I get clarity? Carol, I don't remember, and you're putting it, I don't remember this conversation where you're saying that we agreed. I don't know if it was a voting item.
No, I don't think it was a voting item, and I think we were still trying to figure out the protocol for the meetings, because we used to never have people coming in to talk. There was very, very rarely did we ever have people making public comments. So we had sort of lost the idea how we were going to do it. And when we suddenly had 10 people showing up, all wanting to do public comment, we realized, okay, we have to have a strategy here. And at that point, we decided that that we would allow because it was also when we had the city council liaison speaking, and it was more to do with with Claudia Jimenez because she wanted to be able to answer when people from the public made a comment about something that she said. So we decided that she would have an opportunity to answer, and I assume that also went for the chief. You don't remember that particular meeting?
Yeah, maybe that was before my time. So
Maybe it was.
Yeah, love to understand, and if you have the minutes for that meeting, to let us know, or what exactly happened, because if there was something agreed and voted on, I think it's important for that to be brought up. And
it wasn't voted on.
Okay.
I don't think voted on. I think it was more just trying to sort of figuring out how it would best work. And I remember that Council Member Jimenez wanted to be able to answer. So we put the comments in a way that she could then come back at the end of after all the comments, if she wanted to say something back. We decided that was okay. So,
that sounds like a different agenda item that maybe we need to discuss and vote on, is this kind of back and forth and answering. But right now, it doesn't seem, the council liaison is not on our agendas anymore. It's only the chief of police. So if you have an idea, I would entertain it at a different time to better understand what that would look like and how much time it would take.
Oh, I would also.
Well,
if I may chime in, I do think that generally speaking, the public is not entitled to a back and forth with public speakers, agendized speakers, on items or even in the open comment period. Generally, it's this public gets to make their statement, and then oftentimes a speaker has the privilege, if they so choose, to respond, but generally it's very brief if they do so, and for the most part it isn't responding. The speakers don't respond to public comments and the meeting moves forward. And I was in one of these meetings early in my tenure with this commission when that back and forth was happening. And as I recall, it really got out of hand when touchy or controversial issues were being discussed. So it does underline for me that general tenet of the Brown Act, that you don't have a back and forth with public speakers.
and if I remember correctly, the chief never has responded to any comments. She never did. So it's not like she would start doing it all of a sudden.
Commissioner Jackson, still wants to.
Yeah, kind of like, what is the goal for all of this?
Why are we talking about this?
Yeah, what is the goal? What are we trying to get? I mean, we don't want people to say something, or we want people to say something.
No,
when they should say something. So just kind of like, what is the goal? What are we trying to do?
I'm trying to understand what you all want to do, and I think Commissioner Lorber said that it's bringing in both transparency and efficiency creates transparency in some ways. And just have an organized meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get, what's the goal here? Because it seems like it's something, we talking about something here, but there's something back here that I don't see, that I don't see. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know, what is the goal? What do we want to do? What are we proposing? Do we want people to say something, or we don't? Do we want certain people to say something, and other people don't? So I just want to know what we want to do now. We're trying to get to.
I don't think that there's any idea that we want certain people to comment and other people to not comment.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example because I'm trying to figure out what do we want to do,
Well, what do you want to do?
Well, I wanna work as a body and figure out what everybody wants to do. And so we can figure out, you know, what we wanna do and what we wanna say, but, you know, working together.
So
I don't have no idea.
I think that there's, and you can go ahead. I think that there's been several comments made around this, which is that we want to have efficiency and at the same time have transparency and opportunity for the public to be able to speak to us and give us their opinion or comments or complaints or whatever. And so we're trying to figure out how to make that happen. Like, does it happen per item or is it action items? There's been a number of suggestions made around that. And I think what's going to happen is that Floyd Andrews is then going to take some of this and then come back with a proposal to us.
So we haven't been doing that?
I think we have. I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, what Commissioner Jackson brought up is a really good point. Like, one of the things we should consider as we're like making a decision about how our public comment or how the meetings are going to be run is what our goal is in whatever choice we make. Like, what are we trying to accomplish? And I think that, so one thing that I would argue like that is not like the purpose of the CPRC meetings is to provide sort of an office hours for the chief of police to be able to meet with constituents and respond to their concerns about the police department. I mean, and you know, I can be outvoted on this. Like maybe that is, you know, that could be argued as like somehow in the purview of our committee, but of our commission. But I would like, in my opinion, it's not. You know, like, and so if she was looking for that avenue, I'm sure she probably has places like that where she, you know, can go and meet the public and respond to their questions and have office hours or whatever the thing might be. And so, like, I think that we should, whatever decision we make, we should be trying to, we should have goals that we're trying to accomplish, and we should actually, you know, and we should, those should be actually things that are like moving the mission of our body forward. You know, and so like, and so I do agree that like one of the things that makes that is a bar to any kind of participation, public participation, you know, like the actual functioning of the committee, is when the meetings are run inefficiently. You know, it's like if a meeting is run inefficiently and we're all here until midnight arguing about nothing, that's not serving anybody, right? And so the fact that, you know, we're making an effort to try to be as efficient and move through our business, and while still allowing people their opportunity to hear and be heard, I think is really good. But I think that like whatever changes we make, we should keep in mind like that we should be trying to advance the mission of the CPRC, and not any other goals, no matter how laudatory they might be, right?
Is that it for comments and questions?
First comment, Mr. Cordell Handler.
So good evening again, Vice Chair Flores, Commissioners. What do I have in my hand? So, ta-da! I have Exhibit A. So, if you recall, this is from the November 2024 meeting of last year, and as Carol just pointed out, the public has spoken under the Chief of Police report. So, Exhibit A. So, it said right there under my name, right there, and I had made some issues regarding 23rd Street, and so I do like this concept of allowing the public to speak after when the Chief of Police gives her report and for items that are on the agenda. So, and Commissioner Garcia just brought up a good point. I have attended a number of public meetings, and they do allow the public to speak on a specific item. So, whatever the process is, hopefully Floyd will come back next time with some options, and so that way the public can be able to participate either in person or remotely, and so that way you get to hear from us on what we have to say and regarding the police or vice versa. So I'll just leave it at that. So let this Exhibit A, let it sink in. That's it.
Next comment comes from online. This is Lisa Johnson.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to express my concerns regarding the city attorney's proposal to limit all public comments on agenda items to the open forum, restricting public speakers to just 2 minutes to address multiple topics and doing so before any presentations or commission discussion. This would mark a significant departure from long-standing practice. For decades, Richmond City Council boards and commissions, including this one, have allowed public comment on each agenda item at the appropriate time. This approach promotes transparency, informed participation, and meaningful public engagement between the community and its representatives. A similar policy was previously introduced by the West Contra Costa Unified School District Board of Trustees. It was met with strong community opposition and quickly reversed. If this commission is committed to democratic values and genuinely community involvement, public input, and by extension, First Amendment rights, they should not be stifled or minimized in the name of procedural compliance with the Brown Act. I respectfully urge the commission to retain a format where each item is presented, commissioners engage in an initial round of questions and discussion, the public then comments based on the full context, and the commission concludes with the deliberation and action. Finally, at least 2 legitimate Brown Act complaints were lodged and have been confirmed by the very actions transpiring this evening, allowing public comment on each item and comments made by Council Andrews. Instead of curing those violations within 30 days as required by California law, the city attorney instead chose to propose this item for your consideration. I encourage the commission to consider why this proposal is truly being introduced right now and whether it truly addresses a Brown Act compliance issue or creates a new barrier to public participation. The CPRC has a deeply concerning legitimacy issue. Do you really want to be the only commission in the city of Richmond that is restricting meaningful public comment? Thank you for your service and consideration.
It doesn't look like there's any further public comment.
Great. So we can move to the next agenda item, which is reports from commissioners. And thinking if we could hear back from folks who did the Cinco de Mayo
Good. I was
outreach.
hoping. The first thing that I noticed was the lack of the new logo and branding and swag. It looked very unprofessional. The actual materials, there wasn't a tablecloth. The sign wasn't our new logo, so I suggest that we start buying with our new logo quite a bit of outreach materials. I was quite embarrassed, unfortunately, to be there with minimal things. The other is there were no printed complaints forms or QRs for people to actually make complaints. And so I thought that was a lack of just us being able to share, like, and if there was a complaint or you wanted to praise or you wanted to understand our commission, like a one-pager around the commission. It got there, but some of the language is so jargonized, even in Spanish, it was quite difficult for people to understand some of that. So de-jargonizing what we currently have, but then also ensuring that we have complaint forms or a way to access our website, a way to access our complaint forms, our online complaint forms, etc. And there wasn't really an ask. It was very informational. It was like, we are the commission, and unless you're interested in like police relations, there was nothing to share or to engage in. And so I thought that was, I think we can do much better, especially for representing the city and appointed by the mayor. And I think the last thing is we had a lot of tote bags. Those seemed to be really great. I wish we would have put pamphlets in them, at least, for them to take those and have that information when they left with them. Those are high level, some of the things that came out of it.
Can we also hear who
Yeah.
took the time out to do it?
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to, then we should have a roll call. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was there for the the second shift, I guess, or the middle shift. And I thought, you know, I actually liked the flyer that we had because one of the things that it did actually was invite people to attend our meetings, and it had the Zoom link, and it had the, you know, the location and the time, which I don't think that we've included that before. So like, so I mean, while I understand we can still make further improvements, the information we had was an improvement over previous previous outreach efforts, in my opinion.
Good.
And so yeah, and so we had some good conversations with folks, and yeah, I thought it was one thing that was pointed out to me by one of the attendees was how sad it was that the attendance at the overall event was much lower than usual, probably because of concerns about, you know, like ICE and INS and efforts and things like that. And so it's, you know, previously, which I hadn't realized until it was pointed out, but like in previous years, it was really packed, you know, wall to wall with people. And while there was, you know, a fair number of people, it wasn't as well attended as it has been in the past.
This is just a very broad swag suggestion, but I felt like the stress balls went really quick. People really love those, and in previous years I noticed that too. And the tote bags were popular, but then in previous years we had magnet like binder clips or chip bag clips. Those were really popular, and I really like those because people keep them in a way they might not keep a piece of paper, or even like a stress ball or a tote bag. So I don't know. I mean, it's just something for the future. I think it'd be great to order those with the logo, because I personally like chip clip magnets. I put them on my fridge and stuff, and I'm not going to lose them that way like I will a piece of paper. So just something. But I thought, yeah, I don't know if I would, I don't know, it's hard to say if I felt like we had fewer people than previous years like coming up to the table, but the candy definitely gets people up there, because it's like such a family-friendly event. Like a lot of people, their kid rushes up and then they come and talk, so I think the candy's also really good to have too.
Commissioner Hegstrom?
So I wasn't there, but I was active behind the scenes, and I want to explain something, and that is that Adam is a great staff person, but he is unable to make purchases for us. So we kept telling him, look, we need somebody to make some purchases. We want to get a new banner with our logo. We want to get hats or t-shirts or stress balls or pens or whatever. And we got nothing because we didn't. And at the last minute, he went down and got the flyers printed up. I ordered some candy online and had it delivered to Carmen. And somehow it all came together. So I will tell you, we were about a hair's breadth from not having Cinco de Mayo this year. So if you're not happy with the way with what we had, it could be better. I agree. And I really like Marisol's ideas. And I think that next time, let's do that. Let's get those complaint forms, a few complaint forms. Let's get the QR codes. I don't know how hard it is to make a QR code, whether you have to pay for that, but I like that idea too. I think maybe we should add a second flyer with other information on it, or maybe, like you said, some kind of a information sheet in addition to the flyers. So thank you guys for showing up. It's amazing that it all came together, and I know all of you that showed up. I appreciate it.
I had a question. So is there a process for the purchase?
Yeah, I'm afraid I haven't been, my role has not been clearly divided yet. I was given, like, these are the things you're handling, but I can't give you the status on it. It's all kind of happening over my head, if at all. But that is an issue that I would like decided for my own benefit as well as the benefit of this commission.
So we had heard that the city was going to hire a part-time person to assist you, Adam, and who would be a city employee and thus able to make orders. Have you Is Floyd there? Does she know any updates on this? I'm sorry, I didn't ask Sharon.
There are no updates on it. I haven't heard from anyone. No.
So that's just, so we're just stuck without being able to
We're
make,
up in the air, correct?
we need to fix that. We need to, this commission cannot function without being able to buy things that we need. So somehow that needs to get fixed. And I know Carmen's been harping on it and I try to help, but I don't know how to move this forward. I think it's something at the city level. Is Floyd still in the room?
I am here. Harold.
Is there
did
anything you can do, Floyd, to help?
I'm gonna ask, did Shawnee have the right, did she have purchasing power?
She was a city employee. She wasn't a city attorney employee, so she was able to do
No, I'm
that.
just asking if Shawnee did or didn't have that.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's the buyer everything,
Uh-huh.
and I actually just pick it up and set it up.
But she was in the city manager's office
Yeah.
versus the city attorney's office.
That's the
Got it.
difference.
And I have tried to get my arms around the budget a couple of times. And it's hard to get a response back, so, yeah. Does this come through our council liaison person?
I think it comes through the city manager or the human resources. Sharon was talking about hiring somebody, and in fact, I think it was the ad hoc committee or somebody. She gave us some resumes, and then I think she and Adam were going to pick somebody. Adam, did you guys ever pick somebody?
I've had no input in this process, and I think that's because we want to keep my job in the city attorney's office separate from me being a staff liaison here. So I really kind of have been trying to avoid getting involved in negotiations because it might be a conflict. So I'm trying to stay out of that, although beyond just pushing for somebody to make a decision, I can't. So I'm afraid I don't feel comfortable really getting involved with.
Floyd, can you work on trying to get him the ability to make purchases for us?
Well, I am the city attorney here for this commission, and I do work with the city attorney, but the city attorney doesn't oversee the finance group. So that's what I'm saying. I can make phone calls, and have made some, but mostly about the budget stuff. But we need somebody who has pull with the side of the organization that controls all those resources.
Do we have a budget?
Well,
We have money.
If we have money, and we got budget and money,
Well, I don't know, budget is different than money, but we have money, but I don't know how much money, and I don't know how long it's supposed to last for, and I don't know what our expenses are that come out of that budget.
I will tell you that we are not paying an investigator, which is the big chunk of our money. So we should have quite a bit of money, which is why Shawnee was saying, yeah, let's order hats and t-shirts. And, we have money. We can pay for classes if we want people to, get trainings. And so there is money there. We just can't spend it. And Sharon had given us some resumes of part-time people who wanted part-time work, and then it just dropped. So we need to get on, maybe talk to her about getting that person to become our staff person, a new staff person that can actually do the financial part of it.
Is it possible? Because I remember seeing that email too. So there was an email that was sent to the ad hoc committee, and I actually reached out to Chair Martinez. Putting there. But I reached out to Chair Martinez and I said, I don't think this is actually a job for the ad hoc committee because we're a committee that was formed to find an investigator. We're not supposed to be doing all hiring for the CPRC. And so I said, I think it'd be appropriate for you, as chair to be the liaison on this, but I don't feel like I was given that charge, right? And so is it possible that she knows more about this? Because Carol, I did see that because I'm on the same committee as you are, but I feel like it's possible that because I said that, I might have shut that discussion down within our ad hoc committee, which I think is appropriate, but I hope that because it's still continued on, and that, you know, so maybe Chair Martinez knows something about the progress of that.
Well, I spoke with her yesterday. She doesn't know anything and is curious what was happening, because the last thing that I heard was that since we decided that the ad hoc committee was not the one to review the resumes, that the persons to review the resumes would be Adam and Sharon, and now Adam is saying he's not doing it. So I think it's just up to Sharon to pick somebody, and it seems to be stuck and not happening at this point.
Thanks. Can I suggest, since I'm not on that ad hoc and I don't know the extent of those emails, can you email Sharon to follow up as an action step on that office position? Can you also, and I could do this too, but Carol, seems like you're on top of it and have been know Shawnee's scope from before, that you go ahead and just escalate this directly to Council Member Jimenez, so that she can work with the city manager on ensuring that we're able to purchase as an interim solution at this point. Because we have 2 upcoming events. I'm concerned about the upcoming events. We have Juneteenth coming up, and then right after, was it Clean Slate Day, or Soulful Sunday. And so it does take time for these custom orders to happen, and Juneteenth is just around the corner, and so I think that they have access, and somebody in the city manager can order on our behalf. It doesn't have to be this arduous process, but we need folks to just nudge our council member liaison to help us move that forward. If you don't want to, then I totally can, but it seems like you know the previous situation. Commissioner Hegstrom.
Oh, okay, you want me to email Sharon? I can do that, because Carmen's gone for a while, so she would be the next logical step, sure. But you just brought up something and I didn't see it on the agenda, and that is Juneteenth, and we don't have any meetings before Juneteenth, so if this is not, it's not on the agenda, we can't talk about it.
The June meeting is before Juneteenth.
Oh, the June meeting is, for some reason I thought we were in. Okay, we have more time than I thought. All right, so we can, but we should be thinking about that meeting. You are absolutely correct. We need to start getting the, and also I would like to talk with you, Marisol, about your suggestions, because I didn't write them down. But I think they're all really good. And since I'm part of the communications subcommittee, we should do those things. We should get it all done before the Juneteenth.
I can reach out to you directly for
Okay.
some of the outreach materials.
All right.
Your consent don't even make sense.
Thank you.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, is a person who we need to talk to unapproachable? Or, I don't mind going to the mayor and telling the mayor that we got a problem. You know, I mean, seriously. And it's a little small issue. I mean, something that I would pay for and be reimbursed for. Because on other jobs I do, I mean, that's what we do. If a person needs something, you know, if it's our, you know, we're tabling it, somebody get it or whatever, and get reimbursed. I mean, it's a small problem. I don't even see why we have that issue. We're not getting the little money that we need to do these little things. Come on now. That's not even.
Are there any?
Unless it's something else I don't know about the city and how the city works.
Are there any other comments or questions? Oh, sorry, were you done?
You have to.
Sorry. Any other comments or questions?
I don't see any public comments, no.
Great. So, is there any other reports from the staff or commissioners? No? Okay. So, can we officially adjourn the meeting? Great.
Vice Chair. Good Vice Chair.